Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Prabhu? Can you hear the sound?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear properly, Prabhuji.
Jai. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My name is Jai Sachidanand Das. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have the privilege of introducing His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji, our illustrious speaker for today's and tomorrow's seminar. So, Prabhuji, if you permit, I'll just try to describe your illustrious career in service to Srila Prabhupada, if I may. So, for those that are not familiar, so Prabhuji has been active on many fronts and been recognized throughout the world for his service, including leading ISKCON Pune for the past 20 years as its illustrious leader, where he's overseeing the well-being of over 6,000 congregational member devotees. And that's a huge task. If that wasn't enough, he's also recognized throughout India and elsewhere for his excellence in training youth at the various IITs and engineering colleges, as well as in the corporate world. And on top of that, he's recognized and appreciated for his expertise in educating public on spiritual matters through books such as Essence of Bhagavad Gita, Spirituality for Modern Youth, etc. So that's kind of like the formal resume. I'm amazed at how Prabhuji is managing all this in just 24 hours a day. He's just demonstrating that for an advanced devotee, there's just not enough time per day to serve Lord Krishna. Prabhuji, something that I read since you came once to Oregon, I think 2004, for a brief visit.
Yes, Prabhu.
But I was just listening to, we've been
Prabhu,
listening.
is it, I had come to Portland and then is it Corvallis, is it?
Yes, yes. That's where Krishna Kesha Prabhu welcomed you at Corvallis.
Yeah, correct. Yes, Prabhu.
Very good memory. I was trying to read some things that I could find about you for today's introduction. And I don't want to embarrass you, but I read something very wonderful. It was on His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj's website. You may or may not remember this, but this was a conversation apparently that I guess occurred this year in Chennai about interaction. I was just amazed. It was about a conversation that occurred this year in Chennai about a meeting when Maharaj first came to Pune 10 to 15 years ago. And you were asked to speak, and you just on the spot recollected Maharaj's instructions and teachings from the very first time you met him in Bhagavatam class 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And I was amazed at how rapt your process of hearing is, where you could recall conversational exchanges between Maharaj and a brahmachari and conversations about implementing the instruction of Bhagavatam in one's life. That was just amazing how you were able to do that in spite of the passage of time. So all glories to your wonderful service and your mood. So let's welcome Prabhuji with a loud and warm Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
So Prabhuji will speak today.
Prabhu, I have a PowerPoint. I'll share a PowerPoint. Prabhu, huh?
Yes, Nartama Vilas Prabhu will make it happen.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, it's in Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. We can see the PowerPoint?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see the PowerPoint.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So now it is exactly 3:45 here in India, IST. So another 45 minutes I'll speak, Prabhu. And 4:30 sharp I will conclude and wind up the talk. And tomorrow, when I come back again, I will speak on a little bit more on Smaranam, remembrance, spiritual mental absorption, and take some questions also tomorrow. So my tomorrow session, I'll keep it short, maybe 20 minutes or so, 20 minutes or half an hour, and then I'll take questions half an hour. So you can receive the questions from devotees today also, and tomorrow's questions also put together. I'll answer them tomorrow.
Sure, Prabhuji. Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. And Prabhu, the audience is of Corrivallis devotees, Portland, is it, Prabhu?
Yes, we have from Corvallis, Portland, some of them from California, Seattle.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Very nice to get the association of all of you. Many years ago, probably more than a decade ago, I came to Corrivallis and Krishna Keshav Prabhu, we used to call him as Krishna Prabhu at that time. So he took me in his car to his home. I remember very clearly. We had a program in his house. And he has been in touch whenever he came for Yatra. He would come and meet us in the Yatra time. Very nice to get an opportunity to be with all of you. I also have heard about all of you from Karnataka Prabhu also. He tells me about the sincerity of the devotees there. So, although I'm not physically able to come there, we are having a very interesting topic today for discussion. How to feel God's love for us in our lives. And this is a very important topic. You know why? Because to go on with our Krishna conscious practices, like chanting and rising in the morning and performing all the artis and studying the spiritual textbooks, and to keep us away from tempting environment and ambience of the material world all around us, especially in the age of Kali Yuga, it's like all around it appears to devour us. So to keep ourselves spiritually pure and with great transcendental faith, it is very important to very logically and scientifically understand the truths like this, on the topics like this, so that once we are able to, first thing is to cultivate some knowledge about it and then practice it. And I always have been searching for truth about how God is always a person. He is not just some impersonal energy. So one time I was reading a very beautiful article in Back to Godhead. The article said that, for anyone to be a person, he should have a head and a heart. Like in this world, we all have a physical heart and a physical head. We also have a figurative heart and a figurative head. Figurative means if somebody is a person of heart, people say, oh, he's a very sensitive person. He's very kind. He's very considerate. He's very attentive and alert in serving devotees. He's very humble, people say. If somebody is a person of the head, people say, oh, he's very sharp, he's very shrewd, he's very intelligent, and he's a very expert leader. He's very good in, making judgments and decisions like that. So once I asked in a class, you all would like to be people of head or heart? So majority of them raised a hand for heart. Then I told them, if you are only a person of heart, then you have an advantage also, but you also have a disadvantage of being sentimental or being gullible. You can be cheated or exploited by others. Because you are an emotional person, you will easily put faith in someone and your faith can be betrayed or things like that. And if you are only a person of the head, then people may call you as a heartless person, harsh person, or a hard-hearted person. People think that, oh, he is too heady person, he doesn't have any emotion, he's callous. People may label you like that. So which one is good? Again, I asked. Then many of them switched to head, being a person of the head than the heart. Finally, everybody understood that we all need a head and a heart and a balance of the two in order to be able to serve devotees and serve Krishna and Guru. We need a blend of head and heart. So if we look at the nature around us, we can see that, although we may not know Krishna in the beginning, we all have, my lecture, when I speak now, you will see that even a person in the West who is totally new to Krishna consciousness, if he looks at the nature around, this is the way Prabhupada taught Krishna consciousness in the early days also. When we look at the world around, Prabhupada was able to give examples which were very striking examples. And people could connect with it. And they could actually feel the connection with God. And therefore, the movement actually took off in a very big way. So look at the nature around you. The blooming flower, the blossoming flowers, the trees laden with fruits like mango and pineapple and grapes and oranges and all kinds of varieties of 6 types of tastes, sweet, salt, sour, pungent, astringent, bitter, the 6 types of tastes. So when we look at the nature around, we can see, look at the Grand Canyon, look at the waterfalls of Niagara, look at the rainbow. So look at the morning sky, in the night when I was once flying in a plane, I saw, there were lakhs of lights in, all over the city. And I was looking from the top down. Whereas in the morning, when we all need light, God puts only one light in the morning. He hangs down one light, and that is enough for everybody. We don't need a lakh lights. Similarly, in the night, when you go to sleep, He puts a night light. Guess what? Night light is a moon, a full moon. So, of course, the moonlight is dim light because God knows my children are going to sleep now. So let me not put a bright light now. He puts a dim light. Just like in your home also, when you go to sleep, you put a very dim light so that it can facilitate your sleep properly. Similarly, when you look at the nature around, you can see that not only the flowers and beauty of the garden is just charming to the eyes, like William Wordsworth sang a poem, millions of daffodils I saw, millions of daffodils, he said. So he congratulated God's creativity in creating varieties of colorful flowers of different shapes, different sizes, different fragrances, different type of beauties and different type of orientation of the petals and everything. So now when we can look at the flowers, but it's not that we are just looking at the amazing nature. He has actually made the nature in such a way that we are actually very much dependent on nature. For example, we eat the grains, we eat the fruit, maybe eat the cereals. Actually, he has not just given you rice and paddy, rice and wheat. Just eat this tasteless things. No. He knows that my children want to eat delicious preparations. So he kept the spices like ginger, pepper, elaichi, like cardamom and hing, and many other things like that, like turmeric, like that, many other things. So when you mix it up all with the spices and make the preparations, it becomes very delicious. Because all of us, you know very well how much we are attentive to taking good prasadam, good quality prasad and tasty prasad. Nobody would want to eat a bland diet. He's kept so many varieties. Not only that, he knows when we eat the food, we tend to overeat always because we are greedy for pleasure. We are all by nature pleasure seeking. Once you ask the students, how much happiness you want? You want this much or this much, this much? So the boy said like this, unlimited, he said. Then he asked, how much suffering you want? You want this much or this much, this much? Oh, he said 0. And I told you exactly defined what is given in the scriptures. Scriptures say atyantika sukha pravritti, atyantika dukkha nivritti, which means sukha pravritti means you want to expand happiness unlimitedly and you want to put a full stop to all suffering. And that is the nature of jiva. You're looking like that. So therefore you will see, because we want more and more happiness, we try for that happiness in the material plane. Actually we end up overeating, because we want a lot of pleasure, and pleasure in the form of eating, tasting for the taste buds is so thrilling. So we tend to overeat, and then God knows my children are going to overeat definitely. So therefore he has kept some medicinal herbs also. Charak Samhita lists out thousands of medicines which are coming in the nature. Like there are churnam which people take to digest the food what they've eaten, and many other things also like that. So in this way you will find he has given grains, he has given flowers, he has given fruits. And how the rain pours down is another great miracle. Although scientists may give you the scientific mechanism, the water is evaporated by the sun and it is taken to the city, and the PBT conditions are changed, pressure, volume, temperature, and it pours down, and then it returns in the form of rivers to the, it goes to the ocean. But now we all know this mechanism. We have studied about it. But think about it. How is that happening? For example, the water is dead item. Air is dead. Sun is also a planet, just another dead item. If there are 3 dead items, can they come together like this and perform a process? Is it possible? For example, the water being evaporated forms a cloud at a certain pressure, volume, temperature. The wind blows it. When the wind blows it, it is brought to the city. And then there the pressure, volume, temperatures are changed. Because without changing, how can you condense the water, which is in the clouds, to turn into water? So there is a Y chart we study in thermodynamics. The Y chart has got ice zone, steam zone, and water zone. 3 zones are there. So to move it from the steam zone to water zone, you have to change the pressure, volume, temperature. Because I know about all this how. In my IIT days, I did a interface experiment where I had a controlled lab equipment, where it's a small chamber where I have to test different metals in certain atmospheric conditions. So even to control the PVT in that small situation was so difficult. I know it personally, I have done it myself. And for someone to control in a large upside down bowl of the sky, for such a huge quantity of cloud converting into water and everything. So how is that whole process happening? If somebody says, some scientist says it's all happening by chance, if somebody says, why it is happening by chance? If everything can happen by chance, I remove my kurta and put it, and kurta has to by chance go to bathroom, get washed, get dried, get pressed very nicely, and then folded and stay in the cupboard. Why? Because I want it next day. I want to wear the kurta. Will it happen like that? Have you ever seen dead matter moving by itself? I'm making a process for facilitating my happiness. You may say, what about the machines? Like if I want wind, the fan gives the wind. Is it not a dead machine functioning? But then you have to put on the switch. A conscious jiva has to press the switch. Otherwise the fan cannot be on. The AC cannot be on. The dead machines function by the intervention of a living Atma, the jiva. Otherwise they cannot function. So we can understand Lord has arranged the rain shower and it is potable water. Otherwise you cannot drink the ocean water. Ocean water is salty. If you drink it, your thirst will increase. It will not pacify your thirst. So he has given us potable water. Similarly, the wind that we take advantage of, because we breathe. We need wind for air for breathing, water for drinking, and the grains for eating, and medicinal herbs for curing the diseases in the body. And we need a platform to live, the earth on which we are living comfortably. And he has given us all the building materials in the earth with which we can make a house. And we can build a house, and especially in cold winter, we want to live in closed doors. And now, especially it's day of lockdown, you need a house to bolt the door and live inside, isn't it? He has provided the materials, building materials, facility for us. So one has, I'm telling you, even in a common man's language, you can observe the world around you. As soon as we were born as children, when we opened our eyes, all these facilities were ready-made. We found them. Secondly, we understood that not only these facilities are existing, this beauty in the nature is existing, we are totally dependent on it. We can understand. For example, can I live without breathing? Can I live without drinking water? Can I live without eating the grains and fruits? So many scientists are talking, so many big things, inventions they're doing. Can they create one grain? Can they create one drop of blood? Think about it. Otherwise, why are they coming and begging you for blood donation? Actually, they can create a drop of blood, or they can create grains. And see, the science is thousands of times more advanced now in the recent 1 decade or 2 decades. Despite all this, you can see that the basic necessities of life cannot be produced by scientists. We are totally dependent on God for it from the dawn of creation up to now. All 8.4 million species of life in the planet are dependent on God for this. So now I have given an overall picture. Now let's go from physical, emotional, and intellectual and spiritual level. You can see how God is showing his love for you. Now, at a physical level, you will see, physical level means somebody gives you food. First, food is the basic thing. Without food, we can't survive. I told you about the food, how God is providing. And clothing I was selling. So our material body itself is a clothing. And he has given different clothing for different creatures according to the different climatic conditions. Somebody, a polar bear, has to live in the poles. He requires a body with a thick fur. And so that he can tackle the cold climate of that place. Now, when Darwin saw that, he said it's natural selection. He said, okay, natural selection means what? Durga Devi is the selector. So she's the nature who has selected the body. That's true. But he couldn't see the hand of Durga, who is actually managed by Krishna. In 9.10 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sataracharam. Or Brahma Samhita says, Chayeva Yasya Vibharti Bhuvanani Durga. She is awarding 8.4 million bodies to different type of species. So he thought natural selection means automatic selection. So Prabhupada has strongly, very powerfully defeated these arguments. If you read the My Glorious Master book by His Grace Burijan Prabhu, he talks about crushing chance. Prabhupada joked about it. What Prabhupada said, when a child returns from the school in the evening, at home he finds a sandwich and a tomato ketchup. You ask the child, how did this come? Child may say, because I am hungry, so tomato ketchup has come and sandwich has come. If a child says, it is ridiculous because the child's mother has arranged it and kept there. Similarly, ask a child when we are entering the airport, why the airport door is opening. Child may say, because I have to go inside, door is opening. But any man with common sense knows the sensors are placed there. As soon as you go in, it opens, isn't it? So in this way, what the child may consider as automatic is actually pre-arranged. And everybody knows that. Similarly, when we are born, the food that is arranged, the bodies that are awarded, the sunlight and the moonlight and the rain shower, all these things are given. These are all pre-arranged. Prabhupada told the fellow who wrote the chance theory and who got the Nobel Prize, even that didn't come by chance. Somebody awarded him Nobel Prize. And a person working in the company, the promotion or demotion by the company doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't fall from the sky. It actually is awarded by a senior man who is making a performance appraisal. And then he will promote him or demote him or whatever. Like that. And Prabhupada said, we have come to a program now. He said by a train. This was not by chance, because there was a program fixed in advance, and we booked the train tickets, and then we boarded the train. We came here, and we came for a purpose, and we have come here, and everything was pre-arranged. So nothing happens by chance. Prabhupada very beautifully, and then Prabhupada said, this prize winner, he is a fool, and the fellow who gave him the prize is a greater fool. And both these things happen by pre-arrangement. He did some foolish doctorate work, and that fellow gave him some foolish degree. Even that happens by pre-arrangement, he said. So this is one very important first point I want to tell all of you. We take it for granted when things are easily available to us. This is our greatest curse. Because we don't think about these things very loudly in our lives, and therefore we are unable to feel gratitude to God for having provided all these things. You can see the water has amazing properties. What happens, the aquatics which live in water, during the winter season, you can imagine how cold it can be, and they are not living in a house like we live. How they may face difficulty, but see how kind Krishna is. In the winter season, what happens? The ice freezes over the water, you will see. But when ice forms, at that time it releases heat. And that heat becomes like a hot water for the aquatics. They feel very nice. Oh, Father has arranged hot water for us inside the waters. So, and also now you may wonder, but if ice is freezing at the top of the river, then how will they breathe? For that, the oxygen is also released for them. The oxygen is released for them to breathe, and the water is made hot. So these creatures live in water very happily, arranged by their all-loving Father. So in this way, there is a book called as Evidence of God in an Expanding Universe by 88 scientists who have glorified God's very vital role in this world in each and every aspect of the universe, in chemistry, in mathematics, in physics, in different aspects like that. So imagine if a boy is living in a room, it's a packed room, jammed room. Father has arranged oxygen cylinder for him, has arranged a heat pump for him, has arranged the food for him, has arranged a bed for him. In the same manner, Lord has arranged everything for us. We are actually we are on the receiving end. We are benefiting, but we are not oftentimes thinking loud about it. So physically, I told you. And also, as I told you, Lord has an aesthetic appeal because he's a person of the heart. Because therefore, the colorful flowers, bigger and smaller flowers, different fragrances, like the rainbow. So when you see waterfalls, that means he must be a very artistic person. He must be a person of aesthetic appeal. And very meticulous person in terms of making the universe a very beautiful place. People click photographs of sunrise. People click photographs of sun setting. People click, like in our school days, we have sung the song, Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, isn't it? And the night sky with the moon and the twinkling stars is so attractive. So you can see that he's a person of artistic nature. One has to see that. Then one has to have wonderment. Our Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung a song, Hey Keshava, Tuya Jagata Vichitra. He sings a song. He says, Oh Keshava, your world is amazing, the world that you have created. And now, he's not only a person of the heart, he's a person of the head also. How do you know that? He's so precise in his creation. Like you see the earth revolving around the sun, scientists say it is 365.256 days. Up to the third decimal, it is precise. They say that you can set your clock based on the movement of the planetary orbits. They are saying like that. How amazing it is. Not only that, if you see the ninth planet, Pluto, sometimes it is found as a seventh planet, sometimes ninth planet. They were surprised why. Then they found it doesn't go in a concentric circular format. It actually comes in between two planets, and when it is moving like this, till date, there is no talk about any clashing of the Pluto with any other planet. Although there are millions of planets being floated, such huge planets. Prabhupada said, you may float one satellite in orbit and control it from a control room. Krishna floats millions of planets, and he sits in Goloka and controls them very easily. Goloka Nivasati Akhilatma Bhuto. He enters all the planets as his energy, and he manages all of them. And one man in Honolulu told Prabhupada, Swamiji, look at this jumbo jet plane, such a huge plane man has made, 700-800 people can sit and go. Is it not a magic man has done? Prabhupada said, what do you think? Is it a very great achievement? When the petrol gets over, it has to come down. Whereas God has created Jupiter, Saturn, such huge planets, they keep rotating, they don't need any petrol. And for all, since creation, they are moving, and they never have to come down to put petrol. Besides that, Prabhupada said, God's greatness is not one-sided, that he makes big things. He also made very small plane, like the mosquito, which can come and sit in your body, insert the needle and suck the blood, and before you can beat it, it can fly away. So can your man make such a small, tiny plane? Prabhupada asked. So God's greatness is two-sided, not one-sided, he said. So therefore, one has to appreciate the creation that is all around us. Physically, he has done a miracle. So I told you he has a head and heart. So now you have a physical head and physical heart, and figurative head and figurative heart. So you are a person. If God has a head and heart, can you call him impersonal? Can you call him impersonal? Think about it. Who is the person in the world who has a head and a heart but is impersonal? Anyone who has a head and a heart is personal. So ultimately, God has to be a person. So your body is like a machine, but a small machine. And the universe is like a cosmic machine, a big machine. So behind the small machine, we are the soul, the Atma, running this bodily machine. Similarly, behind the cosmic machine, God is the gigantic personality, a great person who is running the cosmic machine. He makes sunlight, we make mercury bulbs. He makes big moonlight, we make a dome light. He makes oceans, we make swimming pools. So whatever he does in a very big way, so he puts Jupiter, Saturn, big planets, we put some small Sputniks around the Earth, we put satellites like that. So we are trying to copy him, imitate him. He has made naturally flying birds, like big eagles and everything, and we are copying and imitating and making a plane. So in this way, you will see man is trying to imitate God to whatever level best, but he has many four defects we have and deficiencies we have, but we can understand that's a small operator and a big operator, cosmic operator. So therefore, because he is also a person, he has a head and a heart, which he has displayed in the nature around us. Therefore, we should ask the intelligent question, who is that person? Who is the operator of the cosmic machine? I want to know about him. Now, some of you may have a question, why should I know about him? That's a good question. Now, that's the reason why you have to know about him. I will tell you why. Say, for example, if you get fever, what do? Immediately you go to your doctor. The doctor diagnoses you and gives you some antibiotics. You take 3-4 days and the viral fever is gone. Similarly, in life, we can see that there is suffering from womb to tomb. From the time we are born up to the time we leave the body. There are like children who don't want to be separated from the parents, but they have to go to school. Similarly, when they go to school, the mother and father and children, everybody's intention to see the boy studying well, getting a first rank and getting through the board exam and becoming an engineer or a doctor or a chartered accountant or something like that. Everybody's intention at home. And it's not that once you get in engineering, your life is cool now. And after that, you have to study all the papers. It's not that once you pass out, life is very cool. You have to get placed in a good job. It's not that once you get a job, life is very cool. You have to get promotions. But even if you get promotion, you have a lot of money. If one is not getting a good match to get married, then people are worried that my age is going 30, 32 and marriage is not happening. People are in tension. But even if marriage happens, it's not that life is very cool. Some people don't have a child for 10 years after the marriage. They're very worried, no child. Everybody's asking them, where is child, where is child? Isn't it? They go to this doctor, that doctor, this temple, that temple. And it's not that once they get a child, life is very cool, because the child takes the cooker weight and puts in the mouth, or the child touches the fire, the child is putting a knife. So there's a lot of tension. And it's not that when the child grows up, parents are peaceful. If it is a girl, she may elope with a boy. If it is a boy, he may become a drug addict. There is tension. And it's not that once you become old, you are 60, now you are a cool guy, you have no worry. No, the body starts giving problems. People have knee problem, back problem, all kinds of complications in the body, multiple organs failure and all that. So why I'm telling you, when you see the sufferings in the world, one has to ask, where are these sufferings coming from? Is suffering inflicted or is suffering automatic? For example, if I ask one of you to close your eyes and I give you a pinch, so you can experience a pinch and know that somebody is pinching you, although you may not know who it is. Suffering is always given by somebody. So one has to find out why sufferings are coming and what is the cause of my suffering. For example, if I pinch you and turn away, then you will also pinch me. I can't expect that I pinch you and I don't get a pinch back. Correct, no? If I prick you, you will prick me. If I throw rose-scented waters on you, you will throw rose-scented waters on me. If I throw gutter waters on you, you will throw gutter water on me. So that is the way we get a reaction in this world, we can see. So when we are suffering, we know that we have done some mistake for which we are suffering. Like a school teacher may punish a child or whatever. So we all know that for every action, there is a reaction. So one has to ask, why am I suffering now? What is the cause of my suffering? How do I get out of the suffering? How do I become happy? Now people are taking depressants, they are taking tranquilizers, painkillers, sleeping tablets to sleep, to get rid of the pain. People are drinking and smoking to forget the depression. People are suffering from broken love. People are suffering from misunderstandings. People are, so we can see that it's not only in the West now, all over the world now. Everywhere you find such a situation now. So when sufferings come, when your body is suffering, you go to your doctor. When the mind is suffering, one goes to the mandir. Therefore, we call it as a mandir, where you take the man to God so that you can cleanse the mind and become peaceful. Then one goes to a guru who is a spiritual doctor and you ask, why am I suffering? And then you understand that actually I should cultivate satisfaction, not greed. I should cultivate compassion, not cruelty. I should cultivate humility, not arrogance. I should cultivate selflessness, not selfishness. So in this way, one understands from the Guru and the Shastras, and when you implement them in your life, you become happy, you become cheerful. So therefore, one has to, then you understand when you go to Shastra, why should I be compassionate? Because the all-loving Supreme Lord is compassionate to all the creatures, 8.4 million species. And he is giving food even for the atheistic fellows. How compassionate he is. And although we all have turned away from him, and we have come here, Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukkitasya Anugraha Yeha Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. This verse says, Janasya Krishna Vimukasya. Although we have turned our face away from Krishna, and because of that, Adharmashilasya, we have become Adharmashil. Adharmashil means irreligious. And the result is Sudukkitasya. We have become miserable in this world. So then how do I come out of misery? Very simple formula. Turn towards him. Don't turn away from him. If you turn towards the sun, there is no shadow. If you turn away from the sun, there is shadow. Similarly, you turn towards Krishna, all bad qualities, they flee away. And if I turn my back to Krishna, then all bad qualities cling on to me. And because bad qualities come to me, therefore I suffer. If I turn towards him, all bad qualities go away, therefore I am happy. So the scriptures tell us only one simple thing. Learn to turn your face to God. Turn towards him and you'll become truly happy. That is a very simple formula they give. So physically, I told you how God supports us. Emotionally, you can see all the newborn creatures in this world are very cute looking, whether it be a puppy, whether it be a small elephant, or newborn baby, so pinkish body, the hands and feet are so tender for a newborn child. Everybody feels like picking up the child and keeping on the lap and kissing the child. So the newborn ones require a lot of love, and God has arranged their beauty in such a way that they get a lot of affection. You can see that from everybody. Everybody gives a toffee, everybody gives an embrace, hugs and kisses he gets. so that he can get nurtured and grow well. Another time, a person becomes very beautiful. Prabhupada says in his purports that when a girl comes to her teenage, she looks extremely beautiful and she gets a spark in her eyes. And she has a silky hair and a very charming face cut and look. Why? Prabhupada says this is Krishna's creation in the nature, so that a boy will look at her and get attracted to her and say, okay, I will marry her and maintain her. Like that, he will come forward. So therefore, Krishna has arranged that beauty at a certain age. Otherwise, imagine if all the boys, they become celibate and they become sannyasi and go back to Godhead. Then who will marry and how will the world run? So Krishna has kept some arrangement in that way. So one beauty comes at the time of birth, another beauty comes at the time of youth. So in this way, that means emotionally we are all protected, and Krishna has arranged our father, mother, who are representatives of Krishna in our life, our brother, sister, whom we love very much. In this way, every creature gets love from the near and dear ones, and that love, Prahlad Maharaj says in 7th Canto, my dear Lord, it is your love manifesting through the relatives to us, relatives and friends circle, he says. Because every one of you, you have some genuine friends because of which you can live a peaceful life. Otherwise, living in the world of exploitation, we won't be able to live for a moment. But we all have some well-wishers and good people. So that is emotional. And intellectual, if you see, some jivas have turned away from Krishna, they don't want to surrender at all. Then Krishna says, okay, I will give you some intellectual engagement. He has given mathematics, physics, science, chemistry, biology, everything. And take all these subjects and break your head and delight to do some mathematical derivations and derive some intellectual titillation or play some chess game and be a checkmater if you feel happy like that. There's so much science to be done in this world. All those jivas who want to turn away from God and be independent and enjoy, he has given them intellectual pleasure like that. There is egoistic pleasure he has kept. Like, somebody, I am the first man to place the flag in the Mount Everest. Or I am the first man to find out the supercomputer or whatever. So in this way, the physical pleasure, mental, emotional, intellectual, egoistic, they all are gradually increasing pleasures. The egoistic pleasure goes for whole life because you are the first one to do something. But after death, you forget it. Then you get another body. But the spiritual pleasure is the topmost, which the jivas have become deprived of due to their foolishness, which can be revived if one strikes relationship with Krishna. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani iti rama pade naso param brahma vidiyate. In this verse it is said the yogis are connoisseurs of pleasure. They don't settle for physical or mental or emotional pleasure. They will only settle with spiritual pleasure, which is like an ever-expanding ocean of bliss. And that bliss comes by connecting with Krishna, God. Now, I will go ahead with the PowerPoint. Now, many things I have spoken, which you will see in the PowerPoint now. So we'll recite this verse in the beginning, invocation prayer. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is not only the controller, we are all controllers also, but he's a Parama Ishvara. He's a supreme controller, which means there is no controller of Krishna. There is no one equal to him or greater than him. His name is Krishna. He's all attractive. He is all beautiful, all knowledgeable, all strong, all famous and all wealthy and all renounced. And he has a body which is made up of Satchidananda, which is a complete spiritual body. And Anadir, he has no origin at all. And Adir, he is the origin of everything. And his name is Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the cows and pleasure to our senses when we worship him. And Sarva Karana Karanam, is the cause of all causes, ultimate cause. So till now I've been talking of a God. That God is Krishna. In the scriptures it's mentioned by Brahma. So one studies the scriptures, then you save time. Scriptures not only saves time, saves energy, saves your headache and research. You can easily come to the conclusion very quickly, and then eventually you will realize all the things said in the scriptures are true. Like a million years ago, the scriptures said plants have life, and scientists didn't believe it. Now, some 50, 60 years ago, Jagdish Chandra Bose proved the same. So, like you see here, yeah. So Krishna says in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this verse. He says that Arjuna, whatever material energies you are seeing, Bhumi, Rapo, Nada, Vayu, Kamma. 8 elements he is telling. Where the water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. These are all forming the material world. And this is created by me. Vinna me prakriti rashtada. My material world, Krishna says. So if you want to know the owner of the material world, it is Krishna. He says that. So without asking who is the owner, we are enjoying all this, all the things in the world. So here is the declaration, who holds the paper for this world? Krishna says, it's me. And then he says, not only that, beyond this world, Arjuna, there is a spiritual world. Aparayam mitastvanyam prakritim viddhime param jiva bhuta mahavaho yedam dharyate jagat. He's saying, there are jivatmas there, you see. They are blissfully situated and they play with Krishna. They have similar bodies like Krishna. They are all servants of Krishna. And that is spiritual world. When all the material world will be destroyed, spiritual world is never destroyed. He says that. And this is material world, made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Our bodies are made of that. Inside there is subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego. And then we have Satchidananda Vigraha, which is a soul. So we are all soul trapped in the material body like a bird trapped in a cage. Or like a driver sitting inside a car. And then Krishna says about himself that I am the creator and destroyer of this material world, Arjuna. Not only that, I am the maintainer of the material world. And how I maintain? Just like if you see my Kantimala, all the beads are all aligned well because there's a nylon inside. So the nylon is, sustaining all the monies. Like that, Krishna says that I sustain the material world as pearls are strung on a thread, he says. And then he gives a list of he says that I am the taste of water. He says that all of us, when we are thirsty, we understand how water is vital. Nobody can create water. But Krishna says, I am the taste of water which satisfies your thirst. Similarly, he says, I am the light of the sun. Without the light of the sun, the factories cannot run, the bodies cannot function, the chlorophyll, the photosynthesis cannot happen in the plants. So he says, I am the energy giving sun. The sunlight actually is my energy. He says that. And he says, I am the light of the moon. The sun and moon are the two eyes of the Lord, as said in the Vishnu Sahasranama. And the moon supplies the 6 types of juices for the plants. So without the 6 juices, we can't eat tasty food. Moon is a supplier. And he says, I am the Pranava in all the Vedas. He says, And Shabda came, I am the sound vibration, he says. And he says, I am Paurusham Rishu, I am the ability in man. The same man eventually will become weak, when he gets older. But now he has the ability. Krishna says, the spark of ability is me. And he says, I am the fragrance of the earth. He says, and I am the heat in the fire. The fire is able to burn because I have supplied energy to the fire to produce that heat, he says. Similarly, all the different species, Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu. I am the one who arranges food for all the 8.4 million species of life and so many varieties in this world. Similarly, the ability in man to perform penance is supplied by me, seeing the sincerity of the jiva. He says. Similarly, he says, Bhidam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam. He says, oh, I am the seed-giving father, Arjuna, for all the living entities in this creation. He says that there were like 120 cows were there, varieties of cows. Now only 30 are there in Deshi cows. Why? Because others have become extinct. Now once they become extinct, scientists cannot recreate them. They have to go to Krishna, extend the hand and say, Sir, please give us a seed of those creatures. Because it's not creation of man. Krishna says, I am the original seed giver. If all the mangoes become extinct on earth, we can't eat mangoes. Then you have to go to Krishna and say, please give one mango seed, sir. Because only when you sow a mango seed on earth, then the earth can produce thousands of mangoes. He is the original seed giving father. And he gives the buddhi to think. Like Newton thought, why the apple is falling down, why it's not flying up. He gives the buddhi to not only Newton, even to brain, Einstein, all the jivas. Einstein didn't create his own brain. Krishna gave him the brain. Similarly, Tejas Vinamaham. the ability to do reflex action is given by Krishna. And the king has a lot of strength to control the world. But that strength which is not used for exploitation, rather it is it's not used for personal aggression, it is used for protection. He says, I am that Balam, he says. And he says, I am the sex life born of religious principles. Here you find two ISKCON devotees coming together in marriage and begetting children to raise in Krishna consciousness. And that sex is me, Krishna says. So all this ability, like man's ability to impregnate a woman and the woman's ability to beget a child in the womb, Krishna says, this is supplied by me. That comes in the Bhagavatam also. So in this way he says about the spiritual world. So this is all Brahma's prayers. So from the spiritual world, Krishna, when he sees some jivas want to enjoy separately, he creates a Mahatattva. And he expands as Mahavishnu. And then gradually, like you see, Sadashiva expands. And then he says, with a single fragment, Ekamshena Sito Jagat, I create the world with a single fragment of myself. So everything that's in Krishna. So in this way, in each of the universes, it creates several planetary systems lying at the above Akshaya Vishnu below, and creating Brahma in the lotus flower, and around the transcendental stem, he creates 14 planetary systems, and then not only that, not only gives you food, clothing, shelter, all that, he gives Vedas to Brahma and tells Brahma, please hand down the Vedas to the Jivas so that they can study the Vedic literature and then chant the holy name, become purified, and come back home, back to Godhead. He has also made an arrangement for us to purify our heart and go back to Him. So the material world is a temporary place and spiritual world is a permanent place. So he teaches us, although material world is beautiful, don't get stuck here, go back to spiritual world. So here you have all these opulences, but in minuteness. But if you go to spiritual world, you will get them in an oceanic proportion in Krishna. So return back to Godhead. So now I will stop with this slide now. Tomorrow I will show you more than half of it I have shown. So when we come tomorrow, we will continue the rest of the slideshow. And I will also speak about Smaranam topic tomorrow and take some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
His Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji ki jai.
Bye.
Like Lord Premanandi.
Thank you. So slideshow, you could see now Prabhu's slideshow?
Yes, Prabhuji. Good to see
Yeah, I'll continue showing it, and then that will take another 10 minutes to complete tomorrow, then I'll speak after that.
you. Prabhuji.